Cyclops and Empire 50-50.
Off Baker. Been playing a lot of Zofia in the regular league, and he'll take down Suzu C. And now it is down to a 3v3. So that early aggression, whilst it might have worked for the first half here, that's going to give him a little bit more safety should he want to push into there. And Joystick underneath is making that echo dance. He's going to have to be ever so careful. Aggression is CAG's middle name, and as he pushes on out, no one's on the sky. Using this momentum, staring down the barrel.
Big impact plays from a lot of these players, but also you got your Evil Eyes from Maestro. You've still got a C4 on side. Even some impacts from Dan, which can come in handy in a pinch.
We're getting down to possibly the last 60 seconds of this match here between the Russian machines and the very aggressive Japanese team of Cyclops. They want VIP, and they're going to have to commit a lot of players to do so. That was a bad bounce of that grenade, and there are 2 ADSs around Dan, but he'll get away with most of his life, and they're going to have to encircle him very quickly because Shepard is right nearby. This is the kind of support you need. This is the crossfires you need. And as Addington grabs 1, he'll grab 2.
That is massive! Cyclops put themselves in the 5 versus 3, but can they handle Empire in the last 30 seconds and send us to overtime? Addington uses Skeleton Key to open up a way into the bomb site to unlock that for him. Always exposes his position, but finds a kill before he is forced back away. Joystick taken down, Cyclops still hanging on, but always 1 HP. Bro now, and he's taken out as well. It's all Scyther all day, and now
they can also be
there was plenty of... Maybe this is doable. The Yokai is spotted as this diffuser... Cyclops, after that tactical timeout, everything changed for them. But Empire have been really good at adapting, at changing their way of playing. Try and read into Cyclops. And just to reiterate the stakes for these teams, right? Empire are looking like a contender for the grand final, looking like a contender for one of those top places at SI. Still early to tell. With the way the SI is going, nothing is predictable, but I reckon that's possible. And they are going to be gunning for those top 4 spots out of their group into the playoffs. Those double E spots. Cyclops at the moment is just hoping not to get eliminated. And this game would do so much for them if they can win it against Empire as well. That would be such a statement.
Well, every single region that has come to the Six Invitational is here to play. And no matter who walks away the victor here, this has been an explosive matchup. If you did miss the first half, in specific, the first 2 rounds, I thoroughly suggest you go have a look at it. In fact, I think there'll be a couple of teams that look at those first 2 rounds and go, hey, Empire, they don't do well with this early amount of aggression. Maybe that's something we can put into our particular counter-strat here. Not a necessity, of course, but something that Cyclops have shown can be a really good addition to the gameplay. Cyclops have taken really good control of the top floor, the mid floor very quickly, and that all comes down to those pre-placed drones to confirm that no one really was roaming in the early round of verticals forward. And
they need to start regulation. The way that they're going to have to do it again.
Dan will be the linchpin of this Freezer push here. He has the site control over towards Freezer Hatch. Anaton and the rest of the players desperately want to cook these ADSs and push him out. There's another player standing nearby to be able to assist. And as he knows those ADSs get cooked out, he has about 10 seconds to shuffle around, but no one pushes, no one acts on it just yet. And now that that shield gets destroyed, it'll look like he is going to have a do or die situation, but he's wasting so much time here, James. It's really what Empire needs. And that's a crouch walk into side.
Oh my god, they're planting! Cyclops is planting! In the 5 versus 5! Empire still have peer control, but they have absolutely no clue! In a 5v5 on match points in overtime! Empire have to retake! Where were the Yokai drones? Off in La La Land! And now Cyclops just have to hold on! Empire making their way back in! Can Shepard stick this? Surely CAG are on the watch for it, but that's the cover they need! Where is the denial? Empire! What is that retake? And they take the game 8-7.
Pros don't fake. The shift W from him to run in through double doors and trust his teammates will come.
And Makers will be taking it on right here against the Sam, looking at the social vote. Sam, where they could get knocked out of the tournament. So
I'm not even going to push you for a prediction on this one.
Throughout it. To be fair, TSM, there was only 2 maps.
And able to set themselves up to now
Response. He had in a worse way to come back into this map because it was this pressure of this is how they peppered them away from the holes. They're happy to take the fights. For now, we're winning them.
I'm a bit worried though, because when you check in FaZe's setup for the top floor, I believe the side of box isn't even reinforced in either of those rounds. They'll do the K9 side, but not the side that is aiming towards the library hallway, and that is where, of course, a kill came through, so you might be wanting...
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, it seems that is very well rehearsed. It's
allowed NAP to get...
And now...
Well, the NAP have to try and hold. BDS take...
Clubhouse, they were incredible, isn't it? You know, we came through that zone. As it stands, NIP, they've invested quite heavily inside of the master bedroom side.
And one thing I have to highlight. What? Feel like expect
High can say, and then, yeah, we are both playing.
Oh, well, or event.
And what I mean,
No surprise, this is usually the second pick bomb. So, well, I mean, we'll be a little bit worried.
in
The entirety of Coastline. But the thing is, right, is that we know the potential BDS extends to the unlucky team who has to play against the 4-man BDS who are all out of their minds, killing everybody against that.
and gain a one-man show. It is no longer solely relied on performances. Here and now they're going to be starting on attack here on Clubhouse. We do have a imagine try and trick onto this.
Difficult to open up hatch, and well, usually we don't see like every hatch opened unless there is, you know, a Kaid ban on the board, then you can, but I think it's a bit of a risk. Bit of a risk for Bride just to go around.
Just how well NIP can utilise that YMI and how much of a difference it made in the keeper. I think is that I'm going to play. There was so much.
Just did not work down to 10. Perhaps the
I had a player called Curtis that
it shouldn't open up the hatch. So, and I think that opening page on this particular bot, right, that it gets down to
it goes even deeper than just having another gun as well. It's a utility advantage, single ounce of it. You've got to make sure that you're milking the most out of that utility. And if you lose somebody early, you know, you lose the book. Well, Kitchen isn't going to get open. An opener would have removed Bride the opportunity to get that open. It's a criticism we made in the previous round that into Moto. As Blue is being pushed here by Alem. So a nice two-pronged attack. In fact, make it three as Renshiro, he's going to be joining from Oil Pit as well. So Muzi really going to be feeling the pinch here, but Pino picks up the opening frag there over on opening up that wall now. Manages to pick up two as Muzi and Pino pretty much line up for each other. Julio does get a trade back with a C4 there over onto Alems and look to aggress on it a little bit further. Finds himself a second onto Renshiro. He's got a glimpse, he's got a chance, he manages to find the frag. Julio goes massive, picks up
so many times in so many rounds for this bomb site that it gets down to the final 20.
Than just having another gun as well. It's a utility advantage. There's so much pressure on every piece of utility that these attackers are bringing, and there is a job for every single ounce of it. You've got to make sure that you're milking the most out of that utility, and if you lose somebody early, you know, you lose the book, well, Kitchen isn't going to get open. That's something that we saw really hurt BDS last time. This time Renshiro's got himself in. He's going to look to try and open up as much of this floor as possible. Rafal's going to go in with a grenade. It's not going to do any damage, but it could have removed a little piece of immunity from that Kitchen. Pushed here by in from Oil Pit as well. Shutting him down inside of Moto. It's now try and fill the hole that has been left. Fal, instead of opening up that wall, now has to plug that gap. He has to try and fill the hole that has been left behind, but Renshiro goes huge. Manages to pick up two as Muzi and Pino pretty much line up for each other. Julio does get a trade back with a C4 there over onto Alems and look to aggress on in a little bit further. Finds himself a second onto Renshiro. He's got a glimpse, he's got a chance, he manages to find the frag. Julio goes massive, picks up a quad kill there to keep NIP on a flawless streak here on Clubhouse.
Oh, Julio, I was worried for a minute. You seen him planting
for one here between these two teams. Bride going to go for a plant now. It is a soft wall there. An opening kill. Tools.
Yeah, not probably. Definitely. And at that. And
teams facing off against so far, pushing through construction. Team win one.
Big reason.
Team win one another's map pick. We don't really want to be going to all maps as if we do. We do get map pick.
Yeah.
Teams have to be happy to, though there is a delight awaiting us if we do. We do get 3 in this map demo. We don't really want to be going to all maps inside of a best of 3. Although there is a delight awaiting us if we do. We do get Consulate. Could be one of those days where either team win one another's map pick.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
This was picked by BDS. You know, teams have deep map pools for a reason. You know, a map that your opponents pick, you know, it's usually a map that you're quite happy to play on as well, because this is the way that the map bans are masterminded by mainly the backroom staff. I think some of the unsung heroes behind a lot of these teams. So they come out with these, you know, wonderful sort of map ban strategies and figure out just whereabouts they're going to go, and they usually know exactly where that is. So both teams very well prepped coming into this one. We're seeing NIP just edge the lead here. I think the important thing to note is that they've been able to do that quite early on into their attacking phase.
Yeah.
Because now it just gives them a little bit more of an opportunity that, you know, there's 2 rounds left here of regulation to try and sort of close this out for them.
Yeah, the last attack that NIP had on the basement, it was pretty miserable. The time just up against them right the way through. This time BDS, I think they've gave early kind of map control over to NIP, not wanting to chance any roam games or anything like that. But again, NIP, I mean, with 1:15 to go, that's more than enough time in terms of how quick the basements gets pushed, which is not quick at all. It is definitely one of the most slowest rounds that we have out of any off the maps. This is a very layered map. You have so many different things you need to check off. You have so many different angles, destructibility, all of the hatches. It is a real task, and Shaiko, as easy as you like with the C4, finds the kill on Depino. The first blood going in favor of BDS, and Ollie, that has been the real game changer for BDS. If they have the opening kill on this bomb site, it makes things a lot easier for them.
It really will. Psycho now forced to drop into Moto as he needs to advance his push. Alem see a huge chunk of damage, but Muzi going to come in with a trade over onto Shaiko. Now control of blue has been gained, and it's going to turn the heads of a few of these defenders as they try and stem the flow from that direction as well. Muzi not going to put too much pressure here, though. He knows that he's got time on his side. 20 seconds, in fact, to get his utility on through. A beautiful headshot onto Renshiro. He now knows that there's a player inside a dirt tunnel as well. He's going to shut him down as well. Finds himself the triple. Alem's left in the impossible position. Julio comes in with a trade there, picking up that round for NIP. That's going to put them demo.
Side of that there will see out. Set it, Pino Muzi. That is the duo. Big reason in this game today.
And being able to stay inside of the upper bracket. You know, the team that loses here, they're not out. That's something to stress. They do drop down into that lower bracket, and there is a chance to make the miracle run.
Yep.
But it's a long old road.
Ollie, if you're in the upper, that is when
More than 3 is possible. I want to make them as possible. Number 1, onto our third map, Consulate. I've got to question the side choice here from BDS. What are they hoping to achieve? What are they hoping to do differently?
when they defended it, they had much more of a roam presence, and it was if you can put any gunk them down and waste as much time as they the simple turn. They see nobody has came up with them to play with.
Now, as a medium waste as much kills for NIP. Muzi and Julio picking up 1 apiece. Shaiko and Renshiro both shut on down. Alems is able to rotate his way back on in, but Muzi still looking to pressure and threaten down this blue corridor. He's able to put some pre-fire shots on, but he isn't able to connect just as of yet. There's still a minute left, so there is an eternity in this round for these defenders to stave off the push, especially with such a significant man advantage. Rafal is unlikely to be able to make use of any of those yokai drones, as I imagine the pressure is just going to be a little bit too much, as Julio now starts to open the triple wall, looking to gain some more information and some more angles. Of course, gives Rafal an opportunity to try and peek on through. He's going to dish some shots out, but shots come back in return. Now Rafal's in a pretty tough spot. He's going to get flashed out and taken down there by Psycho. The pinch and the push coming in from NIP, and Bride in the 1 versus 5. He's inside a dirt tunnel, and I think Muzi knows exactly where he is. A plant is being attempted. There's control of Kitchen Hatch. There's everything going for NIP. A flawless round to close out Clubhouse here, as we're going all the way
You give NIP the time to set up their takes and watch the chaos ensue against the defenders. NIP, they got it together. They figured out the issue, which was how quick they were setting up their attacks. They dealt with that, and bang, they win a map.
13-5 for Muzi, 10-6 for Pino. Some massive performances coming in there from NIP. Experts, please break this one down for us.
Thank you very much, Troika and Demo. And yeah, this is a hell of a way to start off our playoffs day, I have to say, between these two squads at one another's necks, especially now on Clubhouse, a map that both teams have had tons of success on, but NIP victorious. Incredible.
It is definitely, yeah, and it felt like a bit of a reverse of what BDS was able to pull off on Coastline, right? The first 4 rounds go in NIP's way, and then we're like, ooh, that might actually be a very solid start from them. But of course, you know, BDS was able to bring it back just a little bit, but at the moment they equalized the scoreline, NIP was able to run away with it completely.
As they said on the desk, on the cast even, as soon as we started to see the structure from NIP, as soon as we started to see them get that handle, it was the same thing that befell BDS when they were playing against Empire, is that control. They just couldn't quite find a way to get a grip on it. NIP found some pace, which they needed. And it's just, yeah, as soon as it started to fall a little bit into their hands, you could see that they were struggling to just try and claw back some of that control or some of that space.
The Monty Band did not help at all. NIP didn't even need the Montagne. All they had to do was lock down BDS. BDS looked predictable in this game versus NIP. That's not something you can usually say about BDS.
It's not just that, but I praised them beforehand and how quickly they get the CCTV wall open, and then you're watching it and they're struggling with the Maverick, and it takes a minute, and it takes a little bit more, and you're like, what happened? Like, what has changed? Because normally we're used to seeing them opening it up within like 30 seconds, and then they go on from there. But they were struggling themselves on their attacks, and that is something that is not really BDS-like.
What's NIP's mojo in this one?
Not wanting to go down to the lower bracket, not wanting to be in that tricky situation. They don't want to have to do that other run, and they, as I said, at the end of the last map on Coastline, they started to pick things up. They started to get themselves tuned in. If they didn't have that big deficit at the beginning, we might have seen them be able to go a little bit more of a stretch. But the way it kind of crumbled was Coastline was cut off before they could get their roll on. They carried that momentum through into Club. They carried that pace in. I said the big worry is if they can't quite find themselves getting into sight and getting the pressure, they have to have this momentum from their defense. They did, and that just kind of swung them on.
That was map 2 Clubhouse, of course. Now map 3 Console is where we will direct our attention to. As a reminder, the big story for this matchup, NIP faced BDS at 6 Invitational 2020 last February, even the one before, if you can even imagine life in 2020. Who would have thought? That was the last time these two last fought. NIP came out on top and eventually became runners-up only by a hair at SI 2020. Can BDS stop them on Consulate?
They have no other choice. I mean, it's a curious one. Looking over Consulate and how it's sort of been a bit of a play, we haven't seen it too much from BDS. We haven't seen it at all from the tournament. We've seen it once in the hands of NIP, and they weren't able to take it. So it becomes this sort of tough situation because you're up against, they lost it to TSM, and TSM and BDS have a lot of similarities in terms of they have these huge potential players who can have these pop-off moments and pop-off games. They can also take momentum when they need to, which BDS struggled with in Club, but if they get that early start, as I talked about before, you know, we have to see NIP trying to match what BDS can give. I think this is still in BDS's favor.
I went through it a little bit deeper again, and historically I see 5 times Consulate over the last 8 months or something with a 60% win rate. But keep in mind, French League and European League included in this sample, so it's going to be really hard to tell how that is going to be translating to the interregional matchup. But I think, like, this might be decided by some odd bands, right? Because Consulate is a repel map. We often say, like you see in European League, there's a lot of drones always coming in, pings come out, and then somewhere from any repel on that map, a shot will come through. Now, BDS thought they bested NIP with the Monty ban, but that turned out to not go really according to plan. So I'm wondering now, are they going to stick that, or are they going to be going for something completely else?
What's the BDS X factor on Consulate?
I mean,
Psycho hasn't been showing up. I don't know, man.
I know,
I don't know what
it's
sort of X
tough.
factor you can play here.
It's very tough. Well, the thing is, yeah, Renshiro struggled as well.
Yeah.
And if you throw your mind back towards the beginning of this game, Renshiro on a window on Consulate was terrifying.
He literally sits on a window for the past 5 years of competitive Rainbow Six.
And Consulate is all windows.
That's
all the way through. You could take sites without ever having to enter the room. That's Consulate. But that's BDS on their day. And this is BDS that's struggling. They can't quite find the momentum. You're seeing them being a bit passive. They're not quite hitting that aggression. They're not quite hitting the mark that we expect and we usually see from them. And I think that's the big problem right now is, you know, if they can't quite get their heads round, this is the same thing that allowed NIP to be able to do their amazing lower bracket run before. The energy that that team brings to the big stage, to the major positions, it's tough to match. But you have to try.
It's another option. Otherwise, you're going down to the lower bracket. So BDS and NIP both have to show up right now. It is a 1-1. It's basically like that match point overtime and it's 7-7 and it's whoever's round to take. That's basically what we're in here with maps.
OT map 3 or not?
I would love to see an OT. I would love to see it to go all the way to 15 rounds and then decide who takes it home.
So, who do you think will take it home?
It's tough because they're sat either side of the analyst desk. If I could whisper, maybe.
You may.
Maybe. I might write it down and then reveal it later. I mean, as I said, I think the momentum could be in BDS's favor in terms of the map, but I think the player energy of NIP is a little bit high right now. If that is matched from BDS, it's theirs. If they find themselves losing a couple of the early rounds as we saw them do on that map, then they're in a bit of a tough spot.
You agree?
I think Renshiro and Shaiko both have to show up. Renshiro had a good first map, a little bit less so during the second, so if he can come back up to speed and if Shaiko wakes up and finds the kills that he needs to have to elevate himself in the matchup, then it should be a BDS map. But otherwise, it will be NIP.
I can't wait to see this one. Who can gatekeep whom for this one? A big rematch from Six Invitational 2020. Hap, and thank you so much. We're going to go for a quick commercial break, and when we're back, it'll be Extra Troika and Demo awaiting us on the analyst desk. We're going to go to Consulate and stamp out some visas. Let's see who can survive the upper bracket. See you in a bit.
What does it take to create a secure community? Join us on the second episode of I Call Next as we discover how to protect what's most important and enable worry-free play.
Hello everybody and welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us during that short break. We are of course back with map number 3 here between BDS and NIP. So far we have seen Coastline, we have seen Clubhouse, both team gaining 1 map apiece. NIP coming in off a pretty hot win on side of Clubhouse, I think it's fair to say. And now we move into Consulate.
Consulate, well, who expected to get here? I'll say I didn't. I thought it was going to be a TO, especially after BDS taking Coastline, but no, Clubhouse. NIP coming out and winning that map is a real credit to them. I think, Ollie, we've seen it many times, the team loses their map pick and the mental goes, the mental's chalked. But no, NIP push on and they get that win.
Yeah, either team picking up wins on either one's map. All not too uncommon inside of a best of 3, but still something worth noting here. I always have a sneaking suspicion inside of best of 3s, and it's something that tends to ring true. The team that wins map number 2 wins the whole thing. Now, I understand that that can be a little bit flawed logic, because if a team wins map 1, of course, if they win map 2, they're going to win the whole thing. But the team that comes back, picking up that second map, takes us to all 3, it means it's a long journey for the team that won that map number 1. That team, of course, was BDS, and NIP coming in off a hot win. Now we head to Consulate.
Oh, Consulate, this map. A lot of teams go here over the course of the group stage, and well, we're seeing it once again inside of the best of 3s. There was that big debate that a lot of players were saying, oh, it's a best of 1, nobody plays Consulate inside of a best of 3. Well, burst the bubble. What are we seeing? A Consulate pick. Well, it wasn't a pick, but it's left open anyway.
A map that both teams are happy to play on.
Yes,
Typically,
yes.
The decider is that such a map. It makes sense, you know, if it's a map we see inside of best of 1s, it's likely going to be the map that you see as the decider inside of a best of 3. Both teams happy to go here. Thatcher and Nomad being removed. BDS coming back with the Wamai ban. There's so many important and crucial zones here on Consulate that you can imagine NIP would want to deploy that same setup, the classic ADSs, shield, Wamai disc, you name it, you know, top of yellow stairs, etc.
So, BDS did not play Consulate during the group stages. They stayed away from this map, they did not play it, now it's coming out. We have seen NIP play it. They played it against TSM, I think it was 7-2. So a very dominant performance from TSM against NIP on this map. I wonder how much information NIP have on BDS on this map. The last time we seen them play it was against, I think it was Virtus Pro back in EUL, Stage 1, and they lost that 7-2. So the last time either side have played Consulate, it was a loss.
Well, for one of the teams, they're going to have to win it today now, because we do not have anything left after this map for these.
It's not a best of 5? Are you sure?
It's not unlimited overtime. It is said and done over in the here and now on Consulate, and we're going to be heading right on in there. NIP starting off on the defense. They're going to choose to go to Garage first, looking to get this site locked off. Now, Garage is a site that we either see a lot of or we do not see at all. With Cade being open, it lays claim to the fact that Garage is potentially a little bit more defendable, as we do have the ability to, you know, Electroclaw the triple Garage wall. There's the ability then to play in upstairs as well, and that's something that NIP are going to do both of. Pino going to be playing upstairs inside a bathroom. Julio going to be playing down inside of Garage. Now, that Electroclaw is very interesting. We saw the electrical there get placed underneath on the roof of the Garage, and it's actually enough to get the hatch inside a bathroom. Two things intrigue me about that. One, I really like the placement. Two, typically you play with that hatch soft so that the mute can shotgun it open and drop down if required. Now that tells me that Pino's playing there with his life.
Yeah, we see usually a heavy roam presence for a lot of teams, especially for the Garage. You cannot afford to give up early control of the piano. Piano is everything for attackers. If you have control of that, you can utilize the verticality that you have at your disposal. For this certain set of operators, it would be the sledge we're looking for to get in, use the sledgehammer, open up as many angles as you can. As soon as that piano control falls in favor of attackers, you need to clear out a Garage quick. There is no safe position that you can sit in that you will not get picked off from. So, yeah, definitely for NIP, their whole plan is defend that piano. Do not give BDS any map control. BDS, they've already opened up the main breach, and one thing that could happen is potential BDS rush. We see that a few times, I think, for the garage. His teams will just walk in.
Quite possibly. Time continuing to tick, and with the players stacked up outside of garage, it looks like that could be an increasing likelihood. We've got quite a lot to get through though. Kamikaze in a really good position to toss out some Toxic Babe canisters. Pressure that's coming on in is kind of slight. There's nothing really from BDS. They're not giving the game away all too much. Just going to be droning out and trying to gain as much intel as you can. You can see the drones moving underneath the white van. They're going to be searching out for any pieces of utility. We're going to get the other side of the garage wall opened as well. Pino's actually got a nice vertical angle here that he might be able to take advantage of. Lems is going to be inside of Piano, looking to open up that floor and cut off any defenders from being able to be in a position to try and deny the plant. Bride is going to go for the plant, but he's in fact going to get down straight away. The Toxic Babe canister and Julio coming in there to shut him down. There's going to be a phone call ringing on out, so all the defenders are going to be alerted, but Shaiko pushes his way all the way on through. Can he win the gunfight? No, does get taken out. Renchiro's grabbed the diffuser, but it's not going to be enough. Kamikaze able to find two as he shuts two players down on yellow stairs. Lems from above in the 1 versus 3 takes down Pino, but a Toxic Babe canister is going to cut him off. He still has 30 seconds to work with. The diffuser cold at the front of white van. How much information has Lems got in this moment? He is going to be able to recover the diffuser and look to push on through a little bit more aggressively. Feels like he's getting spotted out there as he's looking up and seeing if there is any pieces of utility. Julio with the final swing as Lems inevitably meets his end. NIP, a great defense there of Garage.
Great start for NIP. BDS grasping at straws perhaps a little bit. Don't know if I agree with immediately looking to go for the plant. On that bomb site, if you have a smoke sat in pipes in that position with the shield, you're not planting. The smoke canister goes out. Bride could not get off the plant quick enough. It feeds that information. Like, keep in mind, that deployable shield in that position, of course it's there to protect the smoke, but it is also there to give out information. He's able to count how many people run in, and you can feed that information back to your side. Just overall, I don't think that was the greatest attempt from BDS. I think they can do a lot better. I wonder if Shaiko was able to pick up the kill onto the smoke. Would that have changed the round? Potentially. No one knows. But for the here and now, NIP hold it down. Round 1 in their favor.
Being able to pick up an early defense here on Consulate is good as well, as it's a map that has opportunity for the attack. You know, if that plant goes down and you've got such a man count advantage, it can, you know, it doesn't matter how many defenders you've got, you can really easily keep hold of that from outside. And that plant spot that Bride was going for, the default in front of white van, is very easy to hold from the outside. The problem is, Demo, as you rightly say, it is very predictable. And NIP were more than ready to deal with that. Gives them a nice early start here.
Right, NIP on the top floor, and one operator that has managed to sneak past the banning phase is Valkyrie. I cannot remember the last time I seen Valkyrie up on Consulate. She is terrifying. So, if you don't know why Valkyrie is so strong, if you look at the shape of the building, it is a rectangle. So that means if you put one Valkyrie camera on one corner of the map, you cover 2 sides. The information you can gain from outside cameras is incredible, and that's why she has such a high ban rate on Consulate.
Pino already showcasing those cameras and showing us what he has got. Oh, he doesn't know how close he is there.
Windows, I think.
Just prepping to see if there's anything that he can maybe run out and jump out on at a later time. Shaiko going to get rid of the Banshee on the desk, but the Clash is going to cause him some problems. Kamikaze playing on the Clash. 2 pet